Mount Everest, Beyond the Summit, Climate, Challenges, and the Way Forward. Good morning, Namaskar. I am Prashant Kumar Raut, a student currently pursuing my bachelor's in environmental science. As a student of environmental science and a wholehearted lover of beautiful ecosystems, I am standing here before you today, not just with data, but with deep concern. Today, we speak not of conquest, but of consequence, and not of the summit, but of the mountain itself. Mount Everest, the highest peak on Earth, is no longer just a symbol of human endurance. It is now a warning, and this presentation is that warning. First, some basic details on the summit. Mount Everest is known by three major names: Sagarmatha in Nepali, meaning forehead of the sky; Chomolungma in Tibetan, meaning goddess mother of the world; and Everest in English, named after the British surveyor Sir George Everest. The mountain stands as the highest peak on Earth at 84.86 meters on the border of Nepal and Tibet. Geologically, Everest is 50 to 60 million years old and is still rising by approximately 4 millimeters per year. The summit rock is marine limestone, and fossils of sea creatures have been found on top of the mountain, proving that the Himalayas were once underwater. There are a total of 15 climbing routes to the summit, but the ones majorly used are the South Pole in Nepal and the North Ridge in Tibet. The climbing season has two windows: the pre monsoon period from April to June and the post monsoon period from September to November. The death zone begins above 8,000 meters, where the air contains only 30% of the oxygen found at sea level, and climbers can safely stay there for a maximum of only 16 to 20 hours. The base camp on the Nepal side sits at an altitude of 5364 meters. This is the roof of the world at a basic glance, but it is also a mountain under pressure. Talking about some notable human milestones in Everest, the first humans to summit were Sir Edmund Hillary of New Zealand and Tenzing Norgay of Nepal in 1953. You can see their image from the summit. The first female to summit was Junko Tabei of Japan in 1975. The first Nepalese female to summit was Pasang Lamu Sherpa in 1993. The climber with the most summits overall is Kamirita Sherpa of Nepal with 32 successful ascents, his last occurring on May 17, 2026. The female climber with the most summits is Lakpa Sherpa, also of Nepal, with 11 successful ascents, her last on May 17, 2026 as well. These are extraordinary human achievements of remarkable endurance and courage, but each milestone also represents a footprint left behind on the mountain. Speaking of milestones, the definition of who can climb Everest may soon change. Nepal is currently considering a proposal to allow a Chinese made humanoid robot to attempt the summit. If approved, this bipedal machine would be the first robot to join the ranks of Everest summiteers, not for glory, but to retrieve garbage, monitor glacial instability, and assist in search and rescue missions. The mountain's next first may not be human at all. Talking about the climate on Everest, the summit temperature ranges from minus 36 degrees Celsius to minus 60 degrees Celsius. Even in summer, the summit temperature rarely rises above minus 15 degrees Celsius. The jet stream sits directly over Everest during winter, producing winds that exceed 100 miles per hour. The safe climbing window is extremely narrow, only 1 to 2 weeks per year, typically in late May. Rapid weather changes are common. Blizzards can arrive within hours. The wind chill can drop below minus 70 degrees Celsius without any warning. For context, the summit of Everest is colder than most of Antarctica during the Antarctic winter. The climate here is not just extreme, it is now becoming less and less predictable. Now let's talk about the environmental crisis. The Khumbu Glacier is thinning by several meters each year. Over 50 tons of non biodegradable garbage remain on the mountain. This includes tents, oxygen cylinders, ropes, plastic wastes, etc. An estimated 5,000 kilograms of human feces are deposited near the South Pole every climbing season. Human waste does not decompose in the freezing temperatures, it accumulates permanently. Abandoned gear is frozen in place, including the tents, oxygen bottles, wood wrappers, etc. Black carbon from the soot of kerosene cookers and fuel at the base camp settles on snow. The dark snow now absorbs more heat accelerating the melting of ice and snow. The accurate but harsh truth is this: Everest has become the highest garbage dump on Earth. These images are heartbreaking. You can see discarded oxygen cylinders, tents, and plastic waste littering the once pristine snow. This particular image is the most heartbreaking for me. Animals scavenging through the garbage, ingesting the materials that will poison them. This is not just pollution, it is a crisis that demands immediate and strict action. So, why is climbing Everest harder than ever before? The main challenges are numerous and severe. There is altitude sickness in the death zone that begins above the 8,000-meter mark where human body cannot recover. Second, the weather windows are extremely narrow with only 10 to 14 safe days available per year. Fish decomposition here is virtually impossible because nothing rots in these freezing temperatures, meaning that garbage from decades ago remains frozen in place. Overcrowding has become a real issue, with over 300 climbers queuing on a single route during the peak seasons. Glacial instability makes the Khumbu icefall shift without warning, causing routes to change overnight. Pollution is now everywhere, with non-biodegradable trash now found even in summit snow, including microplastics. These are not just minor inconveniences, they are structural failures in how humans treat the mountain. But it is not all gloom and dark. Solutions are being implemented now, and real progress is underway. First, biodegradable bags for human waste have now been introduced as part of the Sagarmatha Pollution Control Committee program. Large scale cleanup campaigns have removed over 119 tons of garbage from the mountain since 2019. Climbers must now segregate all waste into at least five categories: plastic, paper, metal, glass, and organic at the base camp and higher camps with SPCC staff conducting checks to ensure proper sorting and removal. Fourth, the electronic tracking chips are now used to monitor climber locations and also to help locate abandoned gear. Zero Waste Base Camp has been implemented, making waste segregation into biodegradable, recyclable, and non recyclable streams mandatory. These measures have successfully reduced new waste being left on the mountain. However, they do not remove what is already frozen in place. But existing solutions alone will not save the mountain. Stronger, bolder action is non negotiable. Stricter quotas and spread out climbing windows must be enforced to eliminate the deadly single week bottlenecks on the route. A complete ban on single use plastics above the base camp is compulsory, enforced with spot checks and heavy penalties. Biogas toilets and portable waste units must be installed at camps 2, 3, and 4 so that human waste is treated and not abandoned. Helicopter waste retrieval for glaciers must be funded and operationalized. It is expensive but far less cheaper than the complete ecosystem collapsing. Permanent climbing monitoring stations must be expanded across the mountain. One already exists at 8,430 meters, but more are urgently needed. An international treaty to protect the entire Himalayan range must be negotiated and ratified because Everest cannot be managed by Nepal alone. A mandatory environmental ethics class must be completed by every climber before permit approval. No course, no climb. The technology and funding exist. What is missing is collective will. 70 years apart, two voices from the same soil deliver the same urgent message. Tenzing Norgay, who stood on the summit for the first time in 1953, said these words: Mount Everest was not conquered. You just go there as a guest. He understood then what too many have forgotten now, that the mountain does not belong to us and we have no right to claim victory over it. Then comes Kamiyita Sherpa, who has stood on that same summit 32 times, more than any human in history. He said this: The mountain is not a garbage dump. If you can carry it up, you can carry it down. Two voices from the same reason. The mountain does not need more records, more glory, or more conquests. It needs restraint. It needs accountability. It needs every single person who visits to act as a guest, not as an owner. The choice is ours, and the time to make it is now. At the end, I just wish to clarify that this presentation is not intended intended to diminish the grandeur of Sagarmatha or to deter anyone here from appreciating or even climbing her. It is simply a plea for awareness. The mountain does not need fewer visitors, it needs more responsible ones. So dream, explore, and climb if you wish, but go as a guest, not a conqueror. And when you return, bring back not just memories, but a commitment to protect the very peak that welcomed you. I'd like to end with just one line here: respect Sagarmatha or lose it forever. That's all from my side. Goodbye. Thank you. Dhanyavad.